All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up.
Well, I got a burr under my saddle.
We talk, you listen.
Somebody that's going to take an innocent life is not mentally insane?
You know them.
Time to nut up or shut up.
You love to hate them.
It's the Denton and Sasquatch Show.
Can I bring my AR-15 next time?
Sure.
Yes.
This place is half talk show, half weird daycare. I love it.
You can't handle the truth.
Hello and welcome once again to the Sasquatch and Alabama Mac Show, coming to you live from California and Alabama. My name is Sasquatch in California, and then we got Alabama Mac way over in Alabama.
When things are said in private, they should stay in private.
That's a little throwback to our last show. Our guest Jeremy, I think, came up with the name Alabama Mac, didn't he? Or was that from you?
It wasn't for me.
No, I think it was.
Anyway. No, it's back when I was in the military. I was either called, the German girls would call me Alabama, and everybody else just called me Mac, which irritated me because I'm a Mick, not a Mac. Anyway.
That's true. Well, Alabama Mick, how's that?
That'll work. Yeah, we're doing good here. It's been kind of rainy and humid. The tropical storm missed us pretty much.
Oh, that's good.
And it doesn't look like it's going to give New Orleans an enema. However, I did notice that there is a law that they just passed, or an ordinance, whatever, that if you're caught littering in New Orleans, you got to pick up litter like a week or something like that. Man, if you're caught again, it's going to be 6 months. You got to pick up litter. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Probably a lot cheaper than a hurricane. Yeah.
I am down with that. I like that idea. Too many people litter.
I agree wholeheartedly.
That makes Indians cry.
Or at least one guy that's dead now.
That actually he was Italian, not an American Indian.
Really? That's
Or
bull crap. That's false information. That's fake news.
Or I'm sorry, I have to be PC. Native American.
Native American. No dot here.
Nope, he was feather, not dot.
That's right.
Oh, hey, before we move on real quick, I just want to say happy anniversary to my parents. Today is their 53rd wedding anniversary. So way to go, Ma and Pa.
That's great. 53 years married.
Yep, you don't hear that very often anymore these days.
Nope. Let's see. Let me make this. 7. What's 7 plus 4?
What?
8. 7 plus 8 is 15, right? I've been married for 15 years.
As we do math on the air.
It took 3 marriages to get there.
But hey, 15 years, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Oh, yeah, it is, too. 53 years, that's something else right there.
Well, just think, if I last as long as my parents did, when I get married, I'll be over 100 years old.
Good luck.
I'll be praying for sweet death to take me, I'm sure.
Well, as Johnny Carson said, married men live longer than single men. It's just that married men are more willing to die.
Exactly.
Yeah. And no, I'm not drunk. I just got off work, and my brain's still rattled. But here we are. We're making a podcast for those who enjoy our podcast.
Yes, we're going to be talking about the evil of the man, Google, and all those types of things spying on us and watching our every move. And you should probably put your tinfoil hat on right now.
No, that's got nothing to do with tinfoil. This is the truth. This is real. This is not a conspiracy. Come to think of it, yes, put your tinfoil hats on right now because they are trying.
Oh, that was awesome. Right as Denton was saying that, I lose the connection with him on Skype. Let's see if we can call him back. Oh, how would I rate my overall quality of this call? Crappy. All right, let's see if we can get Denton back here. That was too perfect. This is me calling Denton. There you go. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
That couldn't have happened any more perfect because now the listeners get to hear right when you said, well, we better get going because something, and click, gone. So see, Google is trying to stop us.
I just sent Skype a nastygram.
Yeah, I did too, real quick.
Okay.
How was your service or whatever? I went very, very bad.
Yep, 1 star, dropped unexpectedly.
There you go. All right, well, before we get into the tinfoil hat stuff, there was something I wanted to bring up really quick. There is a commercial being played here on the radio. It's from the LA Times, total left-wing progressive newspaper, like pretty much all of them. And the whole commercial is a guy talking in a very NPR sort of voice, really soft like this, and he's talking about the news today and how it can be confusing, and let us give you context to what you're hearing in the news today. And it's really annoying, and it pisses me off every time I hear it. But anyway, during that little commercial, the guy says something about there's a lot of nationalism going on today, and we want to tell you why that is and put some context behind that. Which, in other words, means he wants to tell you how bad nationalism is. And my question is, why is nationalism bad?
My only response to that is MAGA.
Well, just for the purposes of this, I pulled up online the word nationalism from the dictionary, and it says patriotic feelings, principles, or efforts. I don't see how that could be bad.
Wanting the best for your country.
Then we go to Wikipedia, and it says nationalism is a political, social, and economic system characterized by the promotion of the interests of a particular nation, especially with the aim of gaining and maintaining sovereignty over the homeland. The political ideology of nationalism holds that a nation should govern itself, free from outside influences, and is linked to the concept of self-determination. Again, I ask, what is wrong with that? Why do liberals have such a problem with the word nationalism?
It's wanting the best for your nation. Again, yes, it's a good thing.
It is a good thing, but they try to make it a bad word, and I hope our listeners understand. Well, I know they do, because our listeners are the smartest listeners on the planet, but I just want everybody to understand nationalism is not a bad thing.
No, I don't think. Maybe one or two of our listeners I know of have at least listened to one of our shows that would disagree with us, and their reasoning would be incomprehensible. So we won't worry about that.
Okay. Like I said, it wasn't any big deal. I just wanted to throw that out there.
All right. Well, that's a good throw.
All right.
And if you don't like nationalism, I'm sorry. You know what? I like nationalism. If you come from a podunk country and you think your country's the best, you want the best for your country, I appreciate you. I can respect you. If you don't, I don't. And if you're one of my fellow countrymen that hates nationalism, doesn't like our country and all that crap that goes with that mindset, I don't like you. I don't respect you. Go away and die. Well, you don't have to die. You just live somewhere else. I don't live somewhere else that you appreciate.
Exactly.
Maybe Djibouti. Maybe you should go to Djibouti.
Djibouti?
All up in Djibouti. Yeah, Djibouti is in Africa.
Yeah, I was all up in Djibouti last weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, we're just going to move on from there.
Well, not Joe Booty, but a booty.
This is a family-friendly podcast.
Well, I was talking about Africa. That's where I went.
That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Now, do you ever listen to anybody? I don't read them. I mean, maybe you read the Q posts.
No. Every once in a while, I'll browse something, but not too often.
I don't either. I don't bother trying to go to 8chan and read the Q posts, but I do listen to a couple of video channels that they do this, and I'll spend about a few minutes a day just because I find it interesting. One's Space Shot 76 on YouTube, and this I come across because he mentioned it, so I looked it up. Pentagon LifeLog project killed same day Facebook started. This is 2004.
Do tell.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're exactly right about LifeLog project killed same day as Facebook started, but let's click over here. And Facebook started in 2004. Now, Pentagon had been working through DARPA on this thing called LifeLog. Okay, it was run by DARPA, the Defense Department's research arm, LifeLog aimed to gather in a single place just about everything an individual says, sees, or does. The phone calls made, the TV shows watched, magazines read, plane tickets bought, the emails sent and received. Out of this seemingly endless ocean of information, computer scientists would plot distinctive routes in the data, mapping relationships, memories, events, and experiences. In other words, LifeLog was going to collect all your information, and they were going to know everything you think, everything you do. They would be, from this kind of information, they would be able to determine what you're going to do before you do it.
Well, I know the conversation that happened over there at DARPA right when they decided to kill this project. And it went something like this. Hey, Jerry. Yeah, Tom. This Zuckerberg idiot's doing all our work for us. Why don't we just let him do it? All right, let's kill the project and steal his stuff. And that's how it went.
That sounds about right, doesn't it?
That's how it went.
Yeah, because it's probably a little bit, it wasn't at the same day, but they dropped it. And then next thing you know, you've got Facebook. And Facebook is not what they make it sound out to be. They make it sound like, it's all a bunch of college, it's about college kids and this kind of stuff. Well, if you do a little digging, you find out that is not actually the truth. And Facebook has the backing of the government. Now, with Facebook, you put all your information out there. I mean, people do this every day. When I had Facebook, some of y'all may know I dropped mine a little bit over a week ago. The only reason I started Facebook was because of, Denton and Sasquatch. But I just still don't think there's any reason. I miss the memes. Okay.
Well, it's not like you can never see a meme again.
No, I got a buddy at work. He's going to show me memes. He shows me 5 or 6 memes a day.
All
okay,
right.
just this McCain thing. They've made so many McCain memes, because of the longevity of the morning and all that crap. So I still get memes. But Facebook gathers all your information, and it's just absolutely insane if you ask me. Now, Facebook's not alone. I mean, Google is also, from what I've read, a very not good thing. It's a double plus negative. Now, that's hard to believe because it's even a word now. Hey, what's the name of that country? Just Google it. Okay, they don't say look it up on the internet. They say Google it. Okay, but this is from Gizmodo. I don't know if you ever heard of Gizmodo.
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, I'm reading from there now. In a post-capitalistic world that seems very... Let me try this again. In a post-capitalistic world that seems very specifically and violently designed to rip off the poor for the benefit of the rich, spending money is complicated. I know it sounds socialistic, but we're going to drive on. But at least until recently, you could live without fear that some multi-billion-dollar Silicon Valley giant would buy up your banking data in order to serve you more effective ads. Based on new details about an apparent arrangement between Google and MasterCard, those days are over. You can probably see where this is going to go, but I'm going to continue. Bloomberg reports that after 4 years of negotiations, Google purchases a trove of credit card transaction data from MasterCard, allegedly for millions of dollars. Google then reportedly used that data to provide select advertisers with a tool called Store Sales Measurement that the company quietly announced in a blog post last year, though it failed to mention the inclusion of the MasterCard data in the workflow. So you use a MasterCard, and Google buys the information from MasterCard, so they can tell their ad people where you're spending your money.
Yeah, how to target you.
Yeah. Now that sounds crazy.
Well, I mean, that already happens. We got, every time you search, say new work boots, and then you jump online and you go to a website, guess what the advertisements are for? New work boots. Imagine that. So, I mean, they're tracking your cookies. They know.
Yeah, so they're tracking you through cookies. All right, we understand that, and that's kind of creepy as it is. But when you consider everything else that Google knows about you, the proposition becomes more Orwellian. Google told Gizmodo in a statement also shared with Bloomberg that it encrypts and makes it anonymous the credit card transaction data that it's using with the new ad tool. There's no getting around the fact that Google becomes a more powerful, all-seeing ad engine when it can see specific details about people's spending habits, even if they're made anonymous. Oh, damn these words.
Anonymity? Anonymity? Is that what you're trying to say?
Anonymized.
Oh.
Anonymized.
All right.
I didn't even know that was a word. And used in an aggregate, as Google says the data it gets from MasterCard is. In other words, it's keeping you anonymous, which, do you really believe that? This future, one where you email your research, your social connections, and now your spending habits, is one that should really be scared of, says privacy advocates. So everything you do, because you use Google for everything. Okay, and let's say, I rarely click on ads, but let's say you click on an ad to Acme Sports. Okay, and then you use your credit card, your MasterCard, to buy something from Acme Sports. Okay, this is giving the companies information. And they say that they're keeping your information anonymous. But let's say they're lying. Okay?
I think we can assume they are.
Yeah. Now, eventually, if it's not already that way, but because something we'll talk about in a second here, everything you do, everything you say, everywhere you go, this sounds like a Sting song, doesn't it? They'll be watching you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, and you're falling into it. And that's why we've been pushing getting off Facebook. Instead of using Google, use DuckDuckGo. Okay, there are other things you can do besides using these major companies.
Well, let me add another little layer to this. If you remember, there's been a sort of a drive, it's kind of in its beginning stages right now, to do away with cash altogether. So that means you would have to use a card, which means they would get your information for sure. I mean, there's a lot of restaurants that are now not taking cash, a lot of incentives to not use cash. So they're trying to get rid of cash because if you go the cash route, they really can't follow you, or at least it's harder for them to follow you.
I haven't been to Atlanta in years, but a woman I know at work goes to Atlanta quite often. And she says the restaurants and places she goes, they only take credit cards. They will not take cash. I didn't even know that was legal. I thought that they had to take cash.
Yeah, I would think they have to, but from what I hear, somehow they're getting around it, or nobody's complaining. One of the two.
So it's absolutely crazy. Now this is from QZ.com. Quartz. Google's true origin partly lies in CIA and NSA research grants for mass surveillance. This is getting kind of creepy, wouldn't you say?
Well, I mean, we had during the Obama era those, pictures of those giant plants that are just, keeping huge servers full of information.
In Utah.
That the government's keeping. So, I mean, it's been around for a little while.
Yeah, well, they got to have some way to get all this information. Okay.
Well, this is phase 2. Phase 1 was set up the server so we can collect the information. Phase 2 is now let's start collecting the information.
Yeah, well, this was going on before they built that NSA sprawling metropolis thing out there.
Oh,
okay.
well then.
2 decades ago, the U.S. intelligence community worked closely with Silicon Valley in an effort to track citizens in cyberspace, and Google is at the heart of that origin story. I don't think that was worded right, but okay. Some of the research that led to Google's ambitious creation was funded and coordinated by a research group established by the intelligence community to find ways to track individuals and groups online. Now, I'm going to kind of paraphrase this whole thing here. Even as it was breaking off into the internet, where individuals were using the internet, the military, the government, was already thinking, you know what? we can really track a lot of people if we just understand how to do that. And because what they were thinking is people are going to travel in groups.
Well, I was thinking a little differently when you said that, because you said track groups. That way, it's like everything they do. They try to lull you into a false sense of security, sort of saying, oh, well, we want to track these hate groups and these people. So you're thinking, oh, well, that's fine. They're tracking hate groups. They're not tracking me. But then it sort of snowballs into that. Okay, well, now we can track these groups, but we can also track everyone else.
Well, and that's what they're doing. But except when they were, these thoughts were going through their minds, and they were starting to formulate and solidify and make it happen. They weren't telling anybody. Okay, what they were doing is they were coming up with ideas, and this concept of Google was perfect for them, because then they'll be able to track people, and because birds of a feather flock together, they will be able to track the groups in general, where everybody's going for this website, that website. In other words, long before, back when I found it, the first time I got on there, and that was in 1999. Okay. They were already coming up with this concept. I mean, some of the clicks, the keystrokes that I were making back then, they were already saying, okay, Denton is part of this group.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Google is part of this thing. They got money from this. They were helped by the government. And at the end of the day, everything else is falling by the wayside. Nobody says, well, what'd you ask me? Well, just go Yahoo that. Nobody says that. Go to AOL that shit, okay? No, they say go Google it. Everything else is pretty much falling by the wayside. The strongest of it came to the surface, and this is where they're putting everything into. So, again, you go to Google, everything you do on the internet is tracked and followed. It's categorized, it's compartmentalized. You've got cookies up your ears and your nose and your butt. Okay, they know exactly what you're doing. If you mindlessly use what they want you to use. They want you to be on Facebook, because Facebook, LifeLog was a thing that was going to be kind of, obviously it was government, and the government say, here, this is a tool for you. Here, we're giving this to you, and you use it. Now, there's a lot of us that have said, screw you, we're not going to do that. But if it comes from some dopey kid in the college, he starts it so he can keep track of his college buddies and everything, everybody says, well, that sounds fun, let's do that. We'll jump in there, we'll talk about recipes and cookies and our friends and where we're at.
And we'll
even tell everybody where we're at this moment.
We'll post memes. Yes.
I think that's the safest thing you can do on Facebook. So blam, they put in the commercial side, even though that they are at the bottom of all this, they make it look, okay, this is going to be fun. You can keep track of grandma while we keep track of you and grandma. Google, you can find anything you want, everything you want. And as a matter of fact, we're even going to give you an email account. It's called Gmail. So everything you can do that you want to do on the internet, just do it through us.
Well, and if anybody wants to do a homework project, just go over to Google and type in Trump and see how many pages you have to go through before anything positive about Trump comes up.
And then go to DuckDuckGo and type in Trump. Just about anything. Just pick any word. Idiot.
Well,
I don't know what
our picture will probably come up.
Huh?
Our picture will probably come up.
It might. They might. But go to Google and type in idiot, then go to DuckDuckGo and type in idiot and see what the difference is. And see how you're being misled. And while you're being misled, they're tracking your misleadings. So that's about all I have to say about this. Again, I know I seem to be really against social media and these giant tech companies, but I'm thinking I'm painting a picture as to why.
Well, and the scariest part is we've already all sort of become guinea pigs that, I mean, we do all use Google. Some of us use DuckDuckGo, but I mean, we're guilty of it. We're on YouTube, which I think is owned by Google, right?
Yes, it is.
So, I mean, we're already, in the belly of the beast almost, or at least halfway down the throat. So right now is the time to either turn around and head back out or just go full balls and jump in.
Well, if you go full balls and jump in, you're just going to your own demise. However, we are working towards getting a Real.video account. And you're saying, well, what? You've mentioned this twice now. In the last 2 weeks, you've mentioned it. What's taking you so long? Well, I'm not the tech dude, okay? Sasquatch is a tech dude. But I do understand that there are so many tools out there to help you put things on YouTube. But Real.video is new, and so you got to use some kind of generic stuff, and you got to learn some new things. Sasquatch is working on it, okay?
I am.
Now, even after Sasquatch has finished this and he's putting things on Real.video, we're still going to put things on YouTube, okay? Because, well, obviously it's a bigger platform, and that way the people who follow us on YouTube will know, hey, let's switch over to Real.video. All right. Now, when they finally get around to squashing us like they have so many other accounts, well, we'll already have Real.video. We'll probably be on BitChute, Steam It, and that kind of stuff. Patreon, from what I understand, Patreon's been kicking people off because they were saying things that they didn't like. And it wasn't gross or pornographic, or it was political. So I don't know if we're going to go to Patreon, but still, we are working towards getting away from YouTube. But right now, we're going to put things on YouTube because we want you to be able to get hold of us, and you probably still use YouTube. But we all need to get away from YouTube. Google, go to DuckDuckGo, get off of Facebook, go to Minds.com, get off of Twitter, go to Gab. I think AI, is it? Or IA?
Not sure.
And Trump needs to go to Gab.
He does Gab.
Yeah, yes, he does. Well, not only that, put his money where his mouth is, because he's been talking about these social media companies, these giants that are just killing us. He needs to go ahead and go to Gab and let everybody know, I'm going to Gab. Gab would love that. Can you imagine?
Well, maybe he's trying to, what's the saying, keep your friends close and your enemies closer?
That might be. He might be just teasing Twitter. Go ahead. Go ahead. I dare you. Delete my account. Please kill yourself, because you know what? There's a lot of folks that follow Trump, and a lot of folks are on Twitter just to follow Trump. So, but anyway, this may be the last time we spend a show kicking social media. Maybe it's not. We don't know.
Well,
however,
if we get dumped, then yeah, we'll do it again.
Yeah, probably so. Let's don't end this one. By the way, this is episode 115. If you didn't listen to episode 114, because we're putting another one out the day after 114, you need to go and listen to 114 and 2, because we had Jeremy Barnes of Wasteland Media, and we were talking about child sex slavery. And you need to go listen to that. There's no funny in there. It's a very somber show, but it's good information, and you need to watch it or listen to it. But do you have anything that we can leave this episode with that's not so down in the dumps or conspiratorial?
Well, I just happen to have something like that. Over there in Boston, they have News 25. So anybody out of the Boston area will know exactly what I'm talking about. But they have a reporter there named Catherine Burcham. And she was reporting live from the scene of a skydiving plane crash at the Massachusetts Cranland Airport. And while she was doing her report, she was interviewing the pilot of the plane that crashed, Jacob Hazelden. And he told her...
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
It's like we're doing a Sprint commercial.
I think so.
Well, good old Catherine Burcham, reporting from the airport there in Massachusetts, talking to pilot Jacob Hazelton, who was in the plane crash, told her that he believed that it was a defective flux capacitor that may be responsible for the accident. Hazelton is 21 years old and was the pilot of the plane. He was hospitalized, got a few minor injuries, but she went on to report that a possible defective flux capacitor was the responsible party for the accident of the plane. In case anybody doesn't remember what a flux capacitor is, that is the tool that helped Doc Brown send his DeLorean back in time. So, yeah, good old Jacob was pulling a fast one there on Catherine, and she reported it. So that's pretty funny if you ask me.
All right. Well, that is pretty funny. I like that. Well, I've got nothing else.
Well, then I guess we're done.
Things keep on going the way it seems to be going. We're going to be doomed. So, Sass, what should we do?
Kick our flux capacitor into high gear and drink up.
That's right. Good night, and we'll see you here soon. Bye.